Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and today, Sunday afternoon, I'm joined by Tony Haggerty and Laura Bradburn. Tony, we've missed them. Those free-scoring, never boring, rip-roaring.
Correct. Yeah, how enjoyable a half of football was that? It'd be a long time since you've been able to say that about a Celtic team. I think there'll be lots of people running with a replica strip tomorrow to the sports shop and saying, "Can I get Kyogo 8 on the back?" Just been really, really positive. And should be more goals ahead. Keeper not troubled. Just everything that you wanted from Celtic today. Attitude, application right in every department and every player.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't ask for any more. That's the only downside, that they've not scored more. And 2 goals have been excellent. You talk about Kyogo's movement. Laura put a text up saying about you, and that's what impressed me most on Thursday night. I thought,
Massive.
We have a player here, not just his movement, just his game intelligence. He just knows where the ball's going to go, and makes defenders think. And see, when you're making defenders think, that you're unplayable because they don't know what to do with you. And two cracking finishes, but can't underestimate the part played by Abada and Christie in both of them. See, if you get the delivery right to a player like that, he'll score a barrel load. Bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, John Hartson mentioned it in the first half during the footage there, and I think barsabhoy here, Kyogo's class, his work rate is excellent. I mean, we did a pod during the week there. Does Kyogo solve the Eddie headache, Laura? A few people said, what on earth are you talking about? I think when you look at the performance there in the first half, the work rate, the movement, the skill, the willingness to work back in defence, defend from the front. We've seen that. We've seen all of that. I mean, it's at that point a lot of people are questioning whether or not this might be the last weekend we've got Eddie anyway. There seems to be a wee bit of interest wrapping up, going into the last couple of weeks of the transfer window. It seems we've got a player here in Kyogo, the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, as Tony said, I put that tweet up because I was really impressed on Thursday night, and I think if we leave aside the 2 goals that he scored and the fact that he finished them really well, which he obviously did, the thing that I really like about him is he's always thinking ahead. He's always looking, as we've said. There was a point where we had a deep free kick, and the camera was on him because he had won the free kick, and all of a sudden he was off. He was running.
Yeah.
Now, as it turned out, we took the free kick too quickly or whatever it was, but you could just tell his mind is switched on. He's a step ahead. The other thing that I really like about him as well is, and the problem that we've had with Ajeti and Edouard is, when the ball gets to them, even if they drop deep to come and get the ball, the play slows down. The play almost comes to a complete halt. Not with him. He's touching and turning. I think one of the goals, that's exactly what happened. He turned the ball to no, in fact, it wasn't one of the goals. It was one of the chances he missed early on.
He missed one. To Rogic, and he
flicked it to Rogic, took it back. Unfortunately missed, but he's always looking to go forward. He's always looking to progress the play. And when you've got the pace of Abada on the right, and you've got the skill of Christie on the left, the wee nutmeg he did for the second goal, just frightening stuff. Like, the way I want Celtic to play football, that's all I can say about it. That kind of thing of, you hear the roar of the crowd as soon as we get the ball again. It's like, go, push forward, do it. I don't care if we're playing Dundee or Barcelona. If we're playing Dundee, with all due respect to them, I want to score 8 or 9 goals against them. That's the way I was feeling in the first half. It wasn't a case of, we've got 2, the game's done. I was going, get your hat-trick, wee man. Keep going, do it. And I was just, like Tony said, sat with a massive smile on my face watching that. It was fantastic.
And the team have adopted that attitude too. They want more goals. They're not sitting back thinking 2-0, the game's done. They are trying, and they're busting a gut, and they are trying to score more. So I wouldn't be surprised if the margin does become more. So that's a good thing to see as well. And I know I joke with the rip-roaring, free-scoring, never boring, but that's an example of it today. They really have turned up, and that's all you can ask.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Well, to be fair, I prefer your rip roaring to John Collins's passing, moving tempo. But that's exactly what we're seeing. That is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And for anyone tuning in to ACSOM for the first time, having been told that we're a bunch of negative so-and-sos, well, you know what? The only negative in that first half was the outrageous tackles on Christie and on Ralston by the Dundee players. And the fact we've not scored more than 2, like Tony says, it could have been 3, 4, 5 goals there at half time. But again, Laura made the point, Tony, before the game. All it takes is one of those ankle crunching tackles, and Ralston's writhing in agony. And the first thing that I thought of, Laura Bradburn said this is going to happen. That's all it takes.
Without a doubt, listen. And also as well, I mean, you've watched 3 shocking tackles on 3 Celtic players in 2 games. The referee has been feet away from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 yellow card's been administered. And everybody who's analysed them has said instantly, it's 3 red cards. Now, you're not. You just want fairness. Referee the game. Do your job. Dundee should really be down to 9 men. They should be. Right? It's a fact. Andy Halliday should have been sent off. So, and you know me, I don't buy into conspiracy theories at all. But that's rank bad officiating. It really
Exactly.
is.
It is.
And if you're asking me, Celtic they're perfectly within their rights to make a call on this or make some kind of stand or ask what has happened in these instances and get the referees themselves to come and explain their decisions to every Celtic supporter and the club, because that's unacceptable standard of refereeing. And I'm not just saying it because it's Celtic players. I'd be saying the same if it was other players. I'd be calling it out as well, because you can't have that standard of officiating, especially when every one of them has been seen by the official. They're shocking challenges. And it doesn't matter if it's on Ralston or Christie or Morelos or whoever, right? If referees are seeing this, they have to act, and they have to act accordingly.
Oh, definitely. You look at Sean Byrne. I remember seeing a lot of him when he was at Dunfermline. I would like to see that again, because for me, he almost stood on the ball, and by the time he's made contact with Christie, his 2 feet are off the ground. It's dangerous. It's a leg breaker. It's like you said about the Halliday challenge on McGregor, Tony. All that takes is for McGregor's studs to stick in the turf that night for a split second longer than he did, and it snaps his ankle. And that's your captain out for the season. Now, Brennan Monaghan loves the way that Ralston attitude has changed. Tony was wondering how many people are going to go and get the number 8 on their back. How many people now, Laura, are looking to get the number 56 on their back? When does it get to the point where you say, you know what? Maybe if you want to take it that stage further, maybe if we're talking about European progression, but see at that level domestically, I'll tell you what, I still expect a right back to come in. But see, for a backup, I think Tony Ralston's just fine.
Well, I mean, I agree with what Brendan's saying in terms of that. I like the attitude that I'm seeing. I'm not sure it's a change in attitude from Ralston. I think any time that I've seen him play for Celtic, he's always given his all. His ability might not be up to scratch from what we would want, but I've never seen a problem with his attitude. I certainly think we need to be careful what we wish for in terms of another right back coming in, because there seems to be a really nice relationship building there between him and Abada, which I wouldn't want to kind of sully. There was a couple of times where Ralston was making overlapping runs and putting the ball in the box and that kind of thing. And again, with all due respect to some of the standard of opposition that we are seeing play, if we're playing in the way that Ange wants us to play and we're attacking constantly and his defensive duties are reduced, I actually think Ralston is the type of player that could do a job for us, because I think he's got decent delivery, and I think his only real weakness to his game is his defending. So if he's not having to do much of that, then I don't see any reason for him not to be in the team.
I think that's where he's going to shine, Tony, when we're playing at home, domestically, where we're getting the lion's share of possessions and we're on the attack. Then Ralston's deficiencies in defence are obviously not going to be highlighted. But I still expect us to go in and strengthen. I'm not so sure that Big John Hartson's prediction that we're going to get 4 or 5 in is going to come to fruition. By the way, if it does, I'll be delighted. Because I was just saying I'm a wee bit concerned that the board might look at some of these factors, Tony, and say we don't need to strengthen. You see a first half like that, what that shows us is the potential of the group of players that Postecoglou has. Imagine then drip feeding another few class additions to that side, and then Postecoglou sees his plan coming to fruition. Do you think he's the type of guy? We've seen him getting basically no defensive, but you've seen him going on the attack with some of the journalists so far in Scottish football. Is he going to be the guy to speak up? Some people are disappointed Celtic players aren't around the refs when these bad decisions are being made. Do you think Ange will speak up?
Well, I think if he's asked a question, he will speak up. Someone has to say to him after this, what's your thoughts on those challenges? Because they are unacceptable, right? I'm not targeting, but I want to know what the referees are seeing in these moments. I really do. Because see, if you're not seeing that, you're not fit for purpose to be doing the job that you're doing. Bottom line, right? They're easy calls for me. And the referee's feet away from them. So answer the question. And as you say, Ange's as good as anybody to bring it up. But someone has to ask him. And if you're smart and switched on, then you would ask him and say, what's your thoughts on this? And I say, I'm not a great conspiracy theorist at all. I just think the officials in this country are poor. And that's another 3 examples of rank bad refereeing. It really is. Because you and I can see it. And we're watching it on a screen. The referee's yards away from it. And people can say, it's a split second thing and all that. See, you know a bad tackle when you see one. Right? Bottom line, you do.
It's just that, aye. Some of these are horror challenges. Absolutely.
So, and getting back to Ralston, I've been a vocal critic of Ralston before on various pods. But see the last 3 games, what do I always say? Application and attitude. That boy's application and attitude has been 100% spot on. He's clearly buying into what the manager's told him, and also giving his manager a shift and giving him. He knows there's a possible right back coming in, right? He knows that, but he's giving the manager food for thought. Where the manager said, you know what? You could still do a job for me. I'll trust you in certain games, i.e. Dundee. He's having to trust him just now for all the games. But if he brings a quality right back in, he knows he can, and he'll probably explain to him and say, look, I need this position filled. And this is my guy here, but I'll trust you in certain times, you will not drift out the picture. But Anthony Ralston's attitude and application has been 100% in the past 2 games. You cannot fault that. Lord says he maybe lacks a bit of quality and a bit of skill and final product in crossing and stuff like that. But a few of his balls in have been good, and maybe his defensive quality. But these are things. See, you talk about football managers. You can make players better, and Postecoglou was obviously having an effect on him because he's got better, and he's been arguably up there with Celtic's best players in the past 2.5 games.
See the thing, Tony, you're spot on with regards to what you've said about Tony. At no point has it been a pile-on with Tony Ralston in relation to ACSOM. I've kind of been standing up for him. Colin hasn't fancied him. I'm pretty sure Colin watching the game today will admit, as he would with Christie, who obviously last season he was quite vocal about when he does have a good game. It's not as though he just sticks his heels in and says that Ralston's not the answer. So I don't think it's anything other than the fact that, when you look at the first 5 games of this season under Ange, Ralston is one of a few ever-presents. I think he probably was one of those players that Ange Postecoglou was referring to, where he's only playing because he's the only guy I've got. He says there's a few guys in the team that are playing every game because of that. But like you say, what he's done in the 5 games has certainly showed that he could be part of this season, because we need that better squad management than we had last season. And if Ralston plays 25 games, then great, because he can play at this level and he can perform really well at this level. I think the first half shows that, Laura.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I think especially playing with better players as he is at the moment is going to make that a whole lot easier. But just because I know we're short on time, here's what I want us to do. If we're going to sign 4 or 5 more players, I want us to do what I want us to do today for the rest of the season. Rangers have dropped points. We're 2-0 ahead. Put the foot in the pedal. Put the foot on their necks. Give them pressure. Keep going. Don't rest on our laurels. Push ahead and let's blow teams out the water. Let's hopefully blow Rangers out the water. I might be on a cloud right now because Kyogo is certainly going on my new Celtic shirt if I can do anything about it. I'm high as a kite. I'm probably talking absolute nonsense, but that is what I want. I want more goals. I want us to blow teams away, and I want us to just show people what Celtic are about, what Celtic football is about. It's about excitement. I'll not infringe copyright by taking Tony's slogan off him, but that's exactly what it is. It's exciting. It's fast-paced football. It's everything Celtic's about.
Look at the three of us smiling. When did we do that at any point last year? You know, we're accused of being really negative, and we are obviously we're conniving to the opposition, but it's just the way they're playing, the way they've gone about their business today. And as Laura says, if this finishes 4 or 5-0, the smiles will be bigger and brighter. You know, and you just feel a wee bit more positive moving forward. You know, we call it as we see it on this pod. There's nothing to be positive or smile about, or very little last season. So we've had a bright couple of games here, resulting midweek and a bright first half, and with new potential heroes emerging. You know, so I mean, you have to call it as you see it, and you know we're all happy. So yeah, more of the same, Laura, as Laura says. And you know, it's not my slogan, by the way. It's every Celtic supporter's slogan: rip roaring, free scoring, never boring. Everybody owns it. All right. So no copyright on it. All right.
Superb.
It belongs to everybody.
Well, Laura, on that note, I think we'll go back to the second half action, and hopefully we can see more of the same. We'll be back at full time. Tony Haggerty, Laura Bradburn, thanks for joining me on a Celtic State.